Last episode of Let's Talk. A heartfelt thank you to our new followers for your support and encouragement. Our podcast is not just another conversation, it's a deep dive into the inspiring stories of our guests. If you're here to aspire success in your career, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to follow and subscribe our channel. Without further ado, let's get started. It's Let's Talk and I'm your host Aisha. With me is Dhanvarshini from SNS Choir. Today we have an inspiring guest with us, Ms. Jasita Jayachandran. Welcome and thank you for being here with us, ma'am.
Thank you, Aisha and Dhanvarshini. Very nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you, ma'am. So here's a small intro of our guest. So Ms. Jasita Jayachandran is a TEDx speaker and she's an entrepreneur too. So her career was into HR leadership, entrepreneurship and social impact. And she is also a consultant of many companies in and around India. So she has been a founder of one of the company called Million Girls March to College. So she mainly focuses on believes in the power of to create changes. Welcome you, ma'am. Thank you for the show.
Thank you.
So here we'll start with the questions, ma'am.
Sure.
So since you have come from a HR leadership, entrepreneurship, and now you are into social impact, what was the spark which made you to start this journey?
Actually, Dhanvarshini, Aisha, it's not like any one thing happens suddenly, right? If you asked me when I started out my career 30 years ago, if I would be doing all of these things today, I would have probably said maybe I can, but I'm not so sure that I will be doing all of these things. So when I started out, you start out from a college. You're looking for good company. You're looking at learning. You want to be successful. And please remember, this was the era where I came to the workplace and then found a computer, right? We didn't study on computers, etc., which is your era. I found it exciting that when I came into workforce, IT industry was picking up, and it was brilliant to be part of all the great organizations that I've been part of. From there, when I by the 15th year became a head of HR, etc., I felt time to sort of do something on my own. And I think that has always been there, to sort of be your own boss. I don't know why I have this, but I said maybe I should try that. And I started my own company. I think I found that experience enormously enriching, because every decision is yours, whether you succeed, whether you fail, whether you have a heart attack about not having enough money to pay salaries. Anything and everything is your decision. There can't be a greater learning experience than becoming an entrepreneur. One led to another, and I think in 2019, I felt I wasn't in a position to grow the company any further, because I really thought it needed a lot of tech infusion, and I'm not a tech person. So I think, got lucky that I was able to find someone called Ajay Gupta. You can, you can see his profile on LinkedIn. So we spoke, we found that we could work together, and then I really thought he is the best bet to be the CEO of the company. And once he became the CEO of the company, I felt I had space to do the things that I wanted. And one of the things I've always wanted to do was do social impact, because I am a postgraduate in social work. It's a calling for me to be able to serve the underserved and the least has always been there. It's nothing new to me. I've always been wired like that. So I thought I just got the right opportunity in front of me. And I said, if I don't do it now, then I'm probably not going to do it, right? And you're almost on the cusp of becoming 50-year-old. So it's a good time to start. So that's how I ended up starting, HopeWorks Foundation too. So it really is one led to another. But starting something in social impact or doing something meaningful in social impact was always there at the back of the mind. You were just wondering when is a good time, and when do you feel sort of ready to let go of the other things and be able to do it? Because I think social impact requires a lot more commitment. You just have to be there every day, try and give it your all, and I think even more importantly, be willing to learn. Because you don't have solutions for everything. You can only try. It makes you very, very humble. So to me, I think that's been a great journey so far. So that's how I'd like to summarize my journey.
That was truly amazing and inspiring too, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk about HopeWorks organization and Million Girls March to College, ma'am.
Yeah.
The mission is so ambitious and inspiring. How did the idea take shape, and what keeps you going on every day?
So HopeWorks Foundation started in 2019 as just an idea. I went back into my own school. I studied in a government aided school. I went there to see what is it that we should do now to help girls in terms of their education and employment. And I realized there's so much to still get done. And that's how I started, really ground zero, just sitting with girls, asking them what kind of dreams do you have, etc. And there were kids who came from what we would call as underprivileged
Yes, ma'am.
backgrounds. And very many of them had some dreams, but what I felt they couldn't really articulate was that I have the confidence to do it, that I even have a license to dream. Because they were saying, ma'am, my mother's a maid, ma'am, my aunt is also a maid. So it's almost like all doors are shut, maybe that's what I'll end up becoming, right? And whether I can go to college, nothing seemed to register for the children. Even though they were all very talented, they are no less than any other kid. So that's when the idea of setting up a foundation really helped the children see that everyone has a future, everyone has a license to dream, and everybody can think of a better life for themselves. Sort of took shape. I enrolled a whole bunch of my friends, and I will be failing if I don't call out my friends like Sanjay, who joined me, my friends like Priyanka, Kajal, and my sister, Dr. Jayanti Savio, and a lot of others who just came together that were just asking people, will you come and join me? Let's try and do this. And that's how we started. And today we've impacted over 25,000 girls through various programs and initiatives and education and awareness programs. But through a very specific Hope Citizen program, which is meant for providing access and opportunities to access higher education, we've been able to get about 700 girls impacted so far across 8 chapters in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. So it is there. We'd love to do more. 1 million is, while it's an inspiring number, I still think we have to do a
Lot
10
more.
million, maybe a 20 million. But with 1 million, I feel we would have at least made one small dent, right? On poverty, on women having their own careers, having financial independence and self-reliance. So I feel 1 million should be a number that we should reach.
Definitely.
But if we could do more, I'll be happiest. And towards that, we said, let's set an ambitious target. And I'm sure, with more effort, more recognition coming for the actual impact on the ground and the transformation of lives of our girls, we will be able to definitely do, more girls, impact them better, their families better, and their communities better too. So that's really the idea of 1 million girls march to college. Yeah.
That's really a fabulous innovation, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you.
Ma'am, every big dream will come with some hurdles.
Yeah.
Okay. So what have been some of the toughest thing you have faced in your life and which shaped you to be a perspective leader?
I think everyone has their struggles, right? And I must have had mine. When I look back, I don't know. But imagine even being just 4'11" can be a barrier sometimes. Right? You got to keep looking up at everybody. So just generally, you don't feel. But honestly, whatever has come my way, I can only see it as gentle troubles that came, because today I get exposed to what some of our kids go through: loss of parents, grinding poverty. I think it's incredible. They are such amazing survivors. Honestly, Aisha, I don't think I had any such major struggle in life. I,
Yeah.
I came from a lower middle class family, but food was always provided for, education was always taken care. My parents never really stopped me when I said I want to study this or I want to study that or any of those things. There were really no constraints. There was an amazing amount of safety, love, and nurturing and caring within the family.
Yes.
We had our own home by the time I came into 4th standard, right? And so when I look back, yeah, they've always been something or the other, but I don't think I will call them, some major barriers. No, I think I would only see them as, yeah, some curveballs that come your way in life, and you've got to figure out how to overcome those. And otherwise, I think I've been given a fantastic deck of cards to play. I've really not experienced the kind of tough times that my children experience. I can only say I've been enormously blessed. There can always be some problems. There will continue to be some problems. But when I look at what my own children in my own foundation are undergoing right now when they're, say, 17 or 18 or any of those things, I think that's tough luck. That's really tough luck. And if I had faced something like that, I don't even know how I would have survived it. So to me, I think I've had a very blessed life. Honestly, a very blessed life. And some things might have come and gone. I don't even remember it. So imagine it's not left some kind of a mark on me. And true inspiration is finding what my girls really survive, and they are tremendous survivors, fantastically resilient. It's a joy to be amongst them and to really learn from them how to live life. And that's why I'm saying they are my teachers. I learn from them. If you ask me barriers, I'll be like, oh, what barriers? My kids face far worse every day, and they still come out absolutely shining bright. So I don't think I have anything to complain. Yeah, not really.
Looking forward to the future Gen Z generation, ma'am. Like, what advice would you give for the future leadership roles and social change movements?
I think it is. I think actually your generation has done brilliantly well, is my feeling. You've gone through, I think, the universe's worst health crisis in COVID. And look at you all, you're a smiling bride sitting here, getting on with life. What advice? I think you guys should be teaching the world. I don't know if a generation has gone through what you guys have gone through and come out of it. You must be having your own scars, right? Out of that, being locked up in a house for like 2 years and whatever can be pretty frightening. And but yet you guys have come out surviving brilliantly well. If I still think there's anything that I could tell people is uh, do whatever you do it really well. Don't do half measures in anything. Give it your all. Give everything you can, because I think that's the way you really reach what I would call as a happy place. It's not so much about success or money or any of those things, but you look back on the day today and you say, "Oh, that was a good day. I did whatever I could. I sort of gave it my all, right? And I think I've done. And some of it is going to go very well. Some of it is probably going to go average, but that's okay. I don't think it's the end of the world. So give it your all. Trust your instincts, and I think just be happy. I think that itself is such a big thing. But you do have. This is my personal belief. If we're all here where we are, it's because somebody in our family has undergone struggles of poverty and overcoming it and set up this life for us. And I think we have the responsibility to set up this kind of life for others. So even if we take an oath to try and help another person, another child, maybe another friend of yours, in just helping them move their life a little, ahead to a better place, I think you've done your bit. And it's not about giving money. It's really about, say, maybe educating 2 more girls who can't study, say, who can't do well in English. Maybe you can help them, right? Both of you speak such amazing English. Maybe just that, because that itself is a confidence building exercise. It might help them get better jobs.
Definitely.
So if each one of us can do that and your generation can do it, I think nothing like it. We do need, I think, in every home, an activist who will help change the world. I think that's my ardent wish for everyone.
Definitely, we will follow your advice,
Thank
and that was
you.
wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank
So
you.
before we come to the end of the session, we'll just have a small rapid fire round.
Okay.
So one book that changed your perspective on leadership.
I think it's not so much on leadership as much as I think it was the book called Tuesdays with Maury. It's a fantastic book. I think you read it and you realize the wisdom of life itself. It's a beautiful book. Every time I want to read something, I know it's always there in my library, and I'm going to pick it up and read it. I think it's a fantastic book. I think it's amazing. That's a book one should, I think, really keep with them to sort of read. So definitely, that's a recommendation. I loved reading The Difficulty of Being Good. I think that's again a book that you can keep going back to again and again and again, because there's so much wisdom in Mahabharata and what happened in life and everything. So if there are two books, you asked for one, but these two definitely stand out for me as fantastic books. Yeah.
A personal mantra you live by.
Make every day count. And, there's this amazing poem which I always write as my credo. Even if a patch of grass has breathed easy because you have lived, I think that is to have succeeded. I think that's what it is. Even forget a patch of grass, even a blade of grass, has survived, lived a little better because you too walked the earth. I think that's good enough for you to have done.
One skill you think that every professional should have in their 2025.
I think the ability to be empathetic to everyone and everything. Two would be the ability to communicate. And I'm not saying English or any of those things. I'm just saying the ability to stand up for what you believe in and be able to communicate it, I think are two very important skills. And being empathetic really makes me believe that we can create a better universe out there, whether it's workplaces, whether it's educational institutions. It could be anything, frankly. But I do think empathy plays a great part in that. Yeah.
One biggest challenge you faced as an entrepreneur.
I think at different points in time, you have to learn to see whether you are being effective yourself, right? It's a big one because everybody is looking up to you thinking you know the best. But you could have your own doubts. Am I doing this right? Am I thinking correctly? And to be able to survive those periods of self doubt, the periods of, am I even good enough to do this? Can I trust myself? Are big question marks in your mind, right? And then you have to say, okay, now let me sit down and ask myself, so far have I given my very best? And if I have given my very best, that's a good enough time, right, to do something. So I think as an entrepreneur, that would have been my biggest challenge, that I have to be honest with myself. And if I'm not good enough, I have to figure out a way to make this work, and that's why I'm saying, when I knew the way forward for the organization was to bring in a lot more technology, I just felt ill-equipped to do that. And I think it was a very honest and fair assessment of my own skills and abilities. And it just worked out that we were able to do something about and turning it around. Yeah.
One last question.
Sure.
Your dream for Hope Work Foundation in one word.
100 million girls being impacted.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really a rapid fire round.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was really an impressive session, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm sure our users would have gained a lot of useful thoughts.
Thank you.
So don't forget to follow and subscribe to our channel. Keep watching Let's Talk, and it's me, Aisha, and Dhanvarshini signing off. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much to the two of you. Lovely conversation.
Thank you.
Ma'am.